027's command.
Hello, Dr. Long here. Today we'll be going over the tales for SCP-027. The first one we have here is titled Critters, and it's only tagged with 027. Let's get right into it.
I've gotten used to them, the feet. You never think about how many feet they have, how they grip at your skin and the hair on your body, how they hold on to you so effortlessly. They almost tickle now. Almost. The smell, it's barely noticeable anymore. At first it was really bad. I threw up a lot. And then they started crawling to my mouth when I was trying to eat. But then I realized they didn't mind when I ate them. I think that's when I started to come to terms with it. They didn't taste good at first, but then the crunch. Insects have a texture all their own. Thick and sweet and full of I don't know what. It was like the best thing I've ever eaten. And they didn't even mind. There was so much I could just reach out and take. I think they like to sing me to sleep, or to ignore it when they get in my ears. Well, everywhere else too, all kinds of things chirping and buzzing around all the time. Constant noise. I mean, it's a lot louder in the summer. A lot louder. I don't think I mind though. They just like to sing. It's almost like music. I can see them watching me. Not the crawling things, no, the people. I know how you see me. Even in a place where the strange people live, people who the world forget, even they look away. I can see it in their eyes, they pity me. Or they're just plain grossed out, revolted. You too. I see you trying to look at me in my eyes, not at the bits in my hair or nor my teeth. I've seen that look before. You don't want to. You can't help but stare. I know you can't. They never can. It's okay. No, no. You can sit back. Yeah, it's alright. Your eyes are watering. It's better if you move away a bit. Take a drink of water or something. It'd help your stomach. I gave up trying to wash them off. Not in a shower or a bathtub, those aren't big enough. Not enough water to wash them away. Not that I didn't try. It's just a lost cause at this scale. I mean, I still have the scars from scrubbing so hard. Then I started to go swimming to drown them. Like the story of the Pied Piper. You know, he took the rats away and drowned them in the river. I always loved swimming, even before it gave me that little breath of cleanness. Then, then the leeches found me. Leeches aren't. Ants are the worst thing. They're so small they get all over in my hair, in my nose, in ears, in my eyes. Thousands of them. It's it's just I can't even describe it. Just imagine every inch of your body never mind. I'm sorry. I never mentioned the rats. Always so many. But I guess they're not. At least they're warm. There's so many to keep me warm in the cold. Like a fuzzy blanket. A fuzzy, hungry blanket. People keep rat as pets, right? It's no different. Everyone loves pets. I love my pets. I love them all. I'll never be alone.
Okay, now for a second one called pilgrimage, it is also only tagged with SCP-027.
When you're in a position like mine, there's never time to be surprised. Even when each day I meet new things on my skin to crawl around and smile with my gums, I think that's all there is to see. Of course, I am wrong. When God ran out of things from this world, He sent some from others to pick up the slack. I'm being punished, for my time working with the collectors. They stuck me in their little pickle jar, and now all my friends, or the ones who were able to be called my friends, call me crazy and watch me without pity. They can't see. I'm still human, still human, still human, still human. Like them, they can't see they are blinded by knots. They used to watch over me every day, making sure I didn't try to destroy the world. I once strived so hard to the project. Then the containment breach sounded. The things were let out of their broken jars, and my older brothers and friends fled from sight. I thought they had to be back soon, but they never came back. All that was left was me and the things. I could hear them creeping out, there in the dripping pitch blackness, scraping and scratching against their binds. Some of their lands had been freed by the compromised site, but some had to struggle for years to reach me. Even now, there are still things trying to skitter their way to my places. First ones were the shadows. They're always with me. I can feel that flat, spindly legs crawling over my body now. All over, in over. They're what retaught me that there's no such thing as privacy. When they spin webs in my mind and fly them around like little cranial zip lines, they catch my thoughts like flies. The ants were swarming over. They rolled off the skin and folded in like a blanket at the foot of the bed. My feet were scratched into powder and spread out to feed the babies. My eyes were taken, and they saw what I saw. Even in my sight, they saw it, and all could make me see what they see. I see what they want me to see, all see. Then, after taking my privacy, they took my senses. From the cicadas, I lost my ears. The parasites took my taste, hanging onto the end of my gums like artificial tongues, flapping in the wind but not tasting a thing. Bones are all around me now, making a little nest for all my private friends. It's so cozy in me, but I'm never alone. My thoughts are snapped up and sent through the hive that has come to be what used to be me. I used to pray to a god, any god, to forgive me and let my existence end. That was an exercise in futility, because I know there is no god out there. No god for these things that can be found outside the little room we all share together in harmony. I am God. This document was recovered from the containment chamber of SCP-027 following the mass containment breach incident 006. Approximately blank insectoid anomalies were also recovered within the chamber. The note itself appears to be composed from insect cocoon material and written with fecal matter. Although it is believed that SCP-027 still occupies the chamber, it has not been cited by any personnel following its return to the Foundation custody.
And finally, one titled The Black Horse, The Crawling Sea, which is also only tagged with SCP-027 and will be the last one we will be playing over today. So I'll see you folks in the next one. And I beheld and lo a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balance in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a day's wage, and 3 measures of barley for a day's wage, and see to hurt not the oil and the wine.
You know,
Said Joanna, looking over Sophia's shoulder. They were in the Containment Command Central, monitoring a dozen feeds of 027 cell. Containment was currently being redoubled by agents and guard, with more watching nearby objects. 027 itself was currently curled up motionless, and it had been since last night.
This isn't how I expected you to react. How do you mean? This is fine. If the big lady told me to watch out, I'd get it. I'd watch out. But way back when I taught you, it was all calculated risk and reward. And a multiple site breakout scenario isn't unprecedented, but now you're acting more paranoid than Iliad.
Sophia made a non-committal noise, peering at the camera feed.
This recent? I mean, I hadn't seen you for years. You come back and act like this. Was it one of your assignments? Maybe that agent from 14 you had something with. What's his name? Layment? No,
Said Sophia, looking up.
I mean, no, not that. I had a visitor last night.
She paused.
990. Shit, why didn't you say anything? Because he told me to be suspicious of people here. And he's not known for giving bad advice. You trust me, though.
Sophia looked over.
Well, a Swami and one of my exes told me I shouldn't trust my intuitions. Shit, Joanna. Yes, I trust you.
She almost cracked a smile.
Joanna fastened her hand around her hips. Well, me too. I'm glad you came back.
Sophia paused, looked up at her former mentor.
Thanks.
Then turned her eyes again to the camera feed and stood up.
Sorry, I think I need to go look at this in person. The surrounding area, anyways. Just in case. I'll take a look, don't worry.
Joanna brushed towards the door.
Besides, your eyes on eye. Really? Thanks. Thank you.
Sophia glanced over, then back.
Don't get too close.
Moments later, she was alone in the room. At 4 in the afternoon, SCP-027's outline began to shift. This was immediately reported by the guards on duty, who related it to the higher-ups. It stayed like that, little tremors, for a minute longer. Then, its close burst, and out came the mice. No one could possibly imagine where they came from. They formed waves and pools and little rivulets on the floor, climbed the walls, slid through the grated floor, and clogged up the intake for the incinerator. Then they climbed on one another, forming a fungus-like anti-Guti and black mass in the center cell. The guards watched horrified as the host of SCP-027 was lifted. He faced the plate glass wall with his arms held out, beseeching Christ-like. His mouth had been ripped and spotted with bloody, tiny mouse tracks. It occurs to Sophia that he must have died within minutes.
Listen.
She pans over the guard's earpiece.
I'm sorry, but 027 relies on a carrier once its host dies, and any one of you could be it. You're going to need to separate yourselves and leave the room one at a time. Closest to the door, you first.
Priority number 1. Contain potential new carrier. 2. Destroy created vermin. 3. Watch any further developments. Rector! A voice keyed over the radio. Just saw a rat run past my foot. The one who had spoken looked over. Kieran? One of them was stamping, swatting at his vest. Aye! He cracked over the radio. Aye! As the guard formed the perimeter, the rats dropped out of his clothing like a squirming entwined wave. In an instant, they were on top of the guard crew. Although the bulk of them were clumped over Kieran's screaming form, it appeared to be creating them, which was unusual. Oh fuck, someone said. I see scorpions! The rest of the guard team went down shortly.
Kieran,
Sophia said calmly.
just relax and try and take control. They'll listen to you. No, the man said, high-pitched. I can't. They want...
There was a shriek as a rat bit into his ear and tossed his head and the dismembered communication unit to the side. More and more of them filled the room to flooding. Sophia reached over and turned off the unit. Iliad appeared in the security room.
We have fire breathers in the surrounding hallways. Tell them to go when they see the horde.
027 bore down, covering a cloak of rats and insects, and now flapping crows. But the fire melted them away, and his body blistered and burnt out of recognition in milliseconds. When 027 woke again, it woke in the body of one of the flamethrower carriers. The primary consciousness attempted to rebel before a new mind fractured into the bodies of millions of tiny creatures won over and carried it to its goal.
Wait.
said Sophia.
God, wait, stop. It's not the host, it's the effect. It's jumping bodies. Call them off now.
Elliot hesitated for a second. All unit retreat from subfloor J to not engage,
Circumstances have changed.
Sophia enunciated.
I think it's running till it has to stop, killing its host, then picking up the next closest one and gaining control somehow. Maybe it's forcing a direction.
You don't know where.
No, but it's going somewhere. It looks like upstairs. We need to non-lethally turn it back or it'll ride security up to the ground level.
The Svalbard site location had certain advantages. Minutes later, 2 million gallons of electrified seawater flooded 027's level. A tide of rats and centipedes hit it and drowned, and then a readable number crawled over the corpses of the others and bound into a tight raft. But 027 sank when it stood on it, and its host instinct, momentarily dominated, paddled to the surface for air. That'll stop it for a minute.
Minute or longer if its host keeps the control.
Over the camera, they saw a dozen rats chewing a gaping hole in 027's neck. The body slumped face down in the water.
Oh.
Light, said Bercalo. It's jumped to Keter, and it's going to get out. We need to.
I know,
said Sophia. She pressed the button.
All personnel, we are beginning a Class 1 evacuation. Evacuation units assemble. An area of 5 kilometers around the site will become impassable within 20 minutes.
She turned to Elliot.
With all external doors sealed except the ones to the airfield, even if 027 keeps producing rodents, it will have to literally fill the place to burst before it can get a host out. If we start shutting down levels by level, we can recover at least 50% of the objects.
Bercalo froze, then saw the look on her face. He nodded. Keep monitoring. I'll delay a group and we'll get the second to last flight out. He stood up.
Elliot, have you ever called an AVAC of this magnitude before?
No, I don't envy you. You know Garrison's still down there, right? Sophia stared at the screen.
I know.
When the siren started up, Joanna had found a group of agents escorting a transport of units with an enraged 075 and an armload of other objects out to evacuate. She took over the operation, guiding the motorized unit down the hallway as some stood guard and others kept an eye on containment. As they neared the elevator, the agent on point froze and gestured to the other. A long tentacle of black gas floated out of the adjacent corner. The sound of millions of tiny feet.
Don't shoot it,
said Joanna, and then, as they rounded the corner,
get back.
But that hadn't really been the right thing to say. How had it gotten up the stairs? What properties did it have? Oh, of course, host bodies. What a fool she was. In came a swarm of wriggling vermin that went up to her stomach, but didn't make a move.
I have observed you.
The gaping throat of the guard mouthed.
You saw my many eyes and thought they would not look back. Now I am ascended and the earth is mine. And the last I require of you is only a final body, my steed, and one last pat into the day.
The black horse. Suddenly, calmly, Joanna understood. It was obvious. She pressed her earpiece on.
I know who you are,
said Joanna.
Joanna?
Gabriel Bryant asked over the radio. A crow which looked like it had been pilfering fields for decades landed on its shoulder, an inch closer to 027's face. A second too late, she remembered that the lanyard around her neck had her security card and its level 4 override privileges. Her own brain could supply the rest of the code.
You know! Do not fear!
The crow tore out 027's throat. The thing that had been waiting inside 027 for millennia, the thing wearing the body of Dr. Joanna Garrison, jerkily snapped the lanyard off her neck and slid it into the passcode to unlock the unit's door. A black horse with an ancient leather saddle trotted.
I know you've been waiting for me,
027 murmured.
Thank you.
Then it swung onto the horse's back with one hand. It breathed a darkly colored sigh of relief as the leather fused into its hand, and the river of clicking and crawling and flapping beasts fell into marching order. all was well. Outside of the site and its perimeter facilities and defenses, a long, sloping, desolate, beautiful beach led out to sea ice. 027 surveyed it from its perch and cocked its head. 1075 stepped across the ice and onto the surface of the water, radiating black miasma. "We hear you and we answer your call," said 027 to the open air. It turned around. "My most loyal followers, let me lead you finally to your reward." The black horse, the rider, and their growing chorus of raft of vermin started across the glass-smooth ocean. Just as the first wave of light from the Svalbard site hit them, the blinding, desperate blast behind them, they cantered calmly forward.